All right, we are live right here. Okay, so just gonna wait a while, right? So we see just some people to come on 6:30 p.m. All right, before we get started, right? Just for a bit. Okay, so tonight will be a pretty exciting, interesting episode, right? In my opinion, right? I think it's gonna be quite interesting some of the stuff, right? And whether you're watching the recording, right, or whether you're watching the live right now, right? Just let me know in the comments, right? And I'm gonna get started in just a few minutes before I move on with some of the biggest most intelligent decisions, in my opinion, right, that I've made this year. All right, so I'm going to just wait just a little while, all right, before I continue. Okay. Okay, right. So guys, I'm gonna get started. Guys, you can hear me. Just let me type yes, right? If you're ready, right? I'm excited. Today it's gonna be a pretty interesting session. I really hope you guys benefit, right, from some of the open sharing that I'll be doing, right? So some of the things I've never shared publicly before, right? But I really want, with that intention, for you guys to really learn, improve, and really just to benefit from this entire session. Okay. So when I talk about the most intelligent decisions, right, that I've made, right, it's going to be an interesting session because there's just so many things I did this year. I know it's been a crazy year, it's been a chaotic year, right? So I just really wanted to share just a few things that I've done, right? And if you like it, just like this post, like this video, right? Just comment here, and I'll send you the summary of what I'm going to talk about tonight as well. Okay, so number one, right? So the first thing that I've done this year, right, I think the most intelligent decision I've made, right, the smartest decision I made, right, is this thing called going to FHL, right? Going to this event called Funnel Hacking Live. Right, so for those who didn't know, Funnel Hacking Live is one of the marketing biggest event gatherings from some of the biggest marketers around the world, right? So it's organized by this company called ClickFunnels, right? A software company most of you have heard before, right? And I just flew 4 days, right, with Rash and a few other marketers in Singapore and Malaysia, right, all the way to US, and just for 4 days, right, a huge 4-day event, right? I just flew back all the way to Singapore the day after, and why was it one of the most intelligent decisions? Because there was a few things that led up, right? Obviously, if I had the money, I had the time, right, I could just do whatever I want. I just go 4 days, it would be easy, right? But firstly, right, I was facing a cash constraint, right, at that point of time, right? It wasn't part of my budget, right? I didn't know how I'm going to pay it. And one of the things I did was actually I crowdfunded to do so, right? So I crowdfunded from a group of friends, and I said, hey, right, as long as you crowdfund me, right, just a few $100, right, and then I'll share with you my biggest lessons from there, right, and you also get to join some of my most exclusive programs and stuff down the road, right, whenever it happens. So the first thing I did, right, but what happened was that was number one, right, I raised cash, right, to do it if I didn't, so I was being as resourceful as I could. Number two, right, what I did is I repurposed whatever I learned, right? When I came back to Singapore, right, I worked with Rash and Gabriel Wong, I think some of you know them, to actually conduct free sharing sessions, right? From Funnel Hacking Live, right, to our audience, right? And that actually got a lot of people coming in, right? It was what I call free leads, free organic leads, right? We had like 100, 200, 300 people, right, coming. We actually, I think there was 3 physical events in total. I was the MC for 2 of them, but I also helped to answer some questions as well from my side, right, at the same time. So that got me a bit of brand visibility and space as well, right? And also got a lot of people got to know me from there, right? And of course, I started applying a lot of these strategies, right, into some of the things for the rest of the year, right? And that really was one of the best investments I've made, and it's all through using this one big thing called resourcefulness, right? So that's number one, right? Hold on for a while. Okay, right. So number two, right? So all right, but firstly, right, it was the mindset, right? The thinking mindset of really being resourceful, right? So a lot of people, when they say they don't have money, they don't have time, right, they immediately just say no to it. But one thing I did was really just to find out how could I make it possible, right? Tony Robbins style, how could I be more resourceful and really extract whatever I had at this moment, right, and to achieve the kind of things I wanted, right? So number one. And number two, right, is this whole thing. I think we're talking about marketing for a long period of time, right? It's called modeling, repurposing, right? And really just leveraging off other people, right? So we leverage off FHR, leverage off, and we actually used it to invest in multiple different ways on how we could benefit from the entire event of Fun Hacking Life. So that's number one. All right. So number two. Right, so number two was joining what I call joining X Factor, right? X Factor mentoring coaching program, right? So that cost about $25,000 to $30,000 for me, right? And it was a huge investment, right? I've never made that investment ever, right? And that itself was a huge investment for me. That's probably the same amount of money, right, as my business program in Nanyang Business School and my university education. So why I joined, a few things, right? Number one is, of course, you get the coaching, you get accountability, right? You get the advice and mentorship from people who have done it before, and that's why I call invaluable, right? This is something that could be worth way more than 30,000, 50,000 if you actually apply it, you implement it, right? So that's number one, right? Number two, right, it was really to join a community of like-minded individuals, right? People who are committed and serious to actually execute. Right, so that's one thing I did really for myself that could help me. I knew could create exponential returns, right? So it's a 1 year mentorship, but I knew that if I actually worked on it and stuff, right, the benefits I could get for an entire lifetime, right? So that's one huge reason why I actually invested in the program. And actually, thirdly, right, this is more of an intangible value, right? But it's really that declaration to myself that I was serious. I was willing to go whatever it takes to get to the next level, right? So putting out that one-time fee was a painful decision, right? It wasn't an easy one, but what happened is I was committed, and it was a commitment and declaration to myself, right, that I was serious and I was really go all out, right? So I think with this couple of reasons, right, is why I invested in this coaching program, right? Even though I wasn't at this that stage of life or stage of the business or career that some of the other people who signed up was at, right? So some of these people, they have already trained people internationally, right? They already have clients like lawyers, big guys, right, big business owners, right? But for me, I was just actually pretty new to the space, right? But one thing I invested in because I knew that this could bring me returns for an entire lifetime, which is why I did it. So the thing is, right, a lot of people which have this thinking of investing, right, when they invest in a program, they pay for a workshop and stuff, it's always like an expense, right? It's easy to treat it like a simple expense when it's like a few $100s, right? But with its 5 digits, right, something that's going to hurt you, there's really going to be a very significant move for yourself, right? That's when you really need to make the decision between risk and reward. What's the potential upside if this works, and what's the potential downside if it isn't, right? So that's something you got to do, consider for yourself. If you really want to bring it to the next level, you really don't want to be like the majority, you want to be like top of the top, right? That's something you really got to consider to make for yourself, and invest in a proper premium coaching program that not only has people who done it before, right, but the networks, the clients that you guys can have it, the community, right, they can have it for yourself. So that's something that I would really highly recommend for you too. Okay. So that's something you do. Oops, that's for you. Right. So yes, right. Michael says okay. Right, that's something you really got to. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so then number 2, right? So guys, if you liked it, just let me comment yes. All right, let me comment yes. Let me like this video, right? That would mean so much. Hopefully, more people get to watch this, right? But yeah. Okay, so the next one, right? The next one is really interesting, right? The next decision I made, right, was really to what I call quit and change my careers twice this year, right? Change as in change my jobs, change my movement, change my role, right? And I did it twice this year, right? So from the outside, right, from the everyday normal people, right, they will look at you and say like, who the hell are you to think that you can just quit and leave your job twice and change it, right? All in a spirit of 1 year. And it's not like I haven't been switching around, right? So most people will think that it was a bad decision, right? You're just being disloyal, you're not committing, right? But I knew for sure that it was a good decision, right, to firstly move over from Buffalo Line Square as a marketer to join Team Resh, right, as Team Resh number 1, right, and really just to help out and bring up the start, right, of a great company that's going to do so much impact in the world, right? So that's number 1, right? And number 2, right, to actually kind of leave it, right, to move to creating the master implementers movement, right now is what my core focus on, right? And really, right, a lot of people always are scared of quitting, right? So a few things I did, right, along those sides. So number 1, I always ask myself, what's my maximum risk, right? So what I did is actually I saved up some savings, right? I put it aside, and I knew that even at the worst case I have 0 income for either of the 2 roles, whether it's a Team Resh or whether it's for myself, right? I could still live off those savings. That means I wouldn't be begging for money, right? So I always paint myself, what is the worst possible scenario, right? And am I willing to live with it? If I'm willing to live with it, then I'm totally fine. right? Number two, so of course I asked what's my potential upside, right? What's my potential upside to making a decision, right? And I knew for Team Rash, right, it was creating unlimited income, unlimited impact, right? I think more important for me was the impact and the learning that I could generate, right, by leading the team, right, really creating and moving with Rash. And the next one, right, when I move over to the Master Implementers, right, I was really leading and creating a movement that I really wanted to have people benefit from, right? So that's one thing that you can ask yourself is you are moving a career and stuff, instead of just being from a fear-based one, right? One quick thing you can do is actually to paint what's the worst possible outcome for you, right? And putting a baseline where you are actually okay with, right? That you're actually okay putting some savings, right? Painting a worst possible outcome. And then secondly, right, asking yourself what's the maximum reward, right? What's the maximum reward? What's the maximum upside for you doing it? And asking yourself whether that's something that is aligned to where you are at the world right now. Is that really the create the impact you want, right? Is in terms of income the best you want, right? In terms of learning, right? So learning, impact, right? These are the things that you're gonna ask yourself, right? And that's what I did, and that's why I moved, right? Twice, right? This year in terms of my personal career. Okay. So there's the next one. Hi Tony, what's up? All right, say yes, right? Hi Rodrigo, Sui. I couldn't really see your stuff over here, so it's great that I see your responses here right now. Okay, so the next one, right? The next one, very simply, was let me take a look, and yes, right, it was hiring a fitness coach. So I think some of you don't know, I'll be sharing that way more, right, in the next couple of weeks and months even, right? That I actually hired a fitness coach for myself, right? Because why, right? Really, it's not because it's really not because I wasn't aware of what exercises I had to do, what I could eat, what I couldn't, but really there's two big words, right, which is called accountability and feedback, right? So I really wanted accountability and feedback for myself because I knew I wasn't as consistent as I wanted, right, when it came to coaching, when it came to my own fitness and diet and nutrition. So I really wanted to make sure that I could be consistent and right, constantly take action. So I hired a fitness coach for myself, right? His name is Twin. Some of you might have heard of him, right? But he used to be Rash fitness coach as well. So that's something that I consider down the road. Okay. Right, so next one was actually, right, so this is for the investors out there, right? I became less active, right, in my investing. So instead of in the later part of the year, so instead of being so active in trading, right, being up every single night on live in the markets, right, I actually shifted from a more active investing to a more passive investment role as well, right? So for those who don't know, I joined Growth Investing Mastery about a year back, right? It's by this two amazing guys called Kelvin Sito and Jonathan Ang, right? And really what I learned from them was really just building my conviction in companies that could grow multiple times, right, next few years. So instead of focusing on like stable companies like McDonald's or even Visa, was really finding the undervalued gems, but from a growth investing perspective and point of view. So I invested in Garina way back early in the year, right? I've achieved multiple returns and stuff, and that was one of my best decisions. So instead of trying to be active every single night, I get to choose when I want to research more on the company, when I want to build my conviction, and when I made an investment, right, I don't have to panic and constantly read the news because I know the company fundamentally is strong as well. And that actually changed my mindset, right? A lot of people actually like to think about linear growth. How can they really be linear? Right? How can it be how they can grow step by step? So for example, taking a normal 9-to-5 job is what I call linear, right? You're growing by 5%, 10%, even 20% for those lucky ones every single year, right? But I'm creating for what I call exponential growth, right? So maybe the first year, second year, third year going like by 1%, 2%, 5%, right? But once the thing starts, right? Once you have that one opportunity, one huge one, which is what happened for me this year, right? Your growth in terms of income, your learning, right? Your exposure, your impact can be exponential. Right, so that's one thing that actually grew, not just in terms of investing, right, through my time in Growth Investing Mastery. So all credits to Kelvin and Jonathan Ang, right? My mindset became I always constantly think about what's the thing that can help me grow exponentially, right? Income, impact, and other areas of life as well. Okay, so that's one thing, right? So if any of you are interested in finding out more about Growth Investing Mastery, just drop me a DM. I'll be more than happy to share with you. But that's something that I really felt was one of the best decisions in my life, right? Especially in investing, right? When I actually shifted from a more active role to a more passive one, right? So I actually could leave more time for my other areas of life I wanted to focus on, right? Especially for the second half of the year. Okay. The next one, right, was doubling down on my work, actually, right? So a lot of people say, oh, in the lockdown, COVID, right, people are hurting, people are suffering, so it's time to just take a rest, chill, relax, watch some Netflix, right, care for yourself. But I realized that by me doubling down on my work, my career, my impact, my business, right, I was able to achieve so much more, right, than the majority of people out there. So that's something that I really appreciated, something that I felt it was a good decision I made, right? I actually sacrificed a lot of my what I call like my rest time, my chill time, right, on actual work, on actual business, actual career, right? And that created me so much crazier results during this period of time, right? So I think you all know, right? This whole digital revolution has been accelerated because of COVID, right? And when the wave is coming, right, I actually doubled down my work intensity, right? I did whatever I could, right? I didn't just work in a simple 9 to 5. I did as much as I could, right? And that really cost me a lot of crazy results, right? So obviously, I still balanced, right? That means I wasn't like all 100% all extreme, right? But I'll really double down my intensity on the things I really wanted to do. So that's something that you can consider for yourself, right? When opportunities come, right, you really got to strike. You really got to take action and really just move forward with the task you're going to do. Okay, so next one, right? Next one is what I call giving my 100%, right? Giving my 100% in every single thing I do, right? So number one, right, it also means saying no to the things that you know you won't be giving 100% to. So this is something I'm trying to work, right? But guys, if you don't know this one quote, right, by Derek Sivers is, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Right, so if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Basically means that if it's something that you know that you're not going to pour your heart and soul, you're not going to be fully present in the task, in the activity, right? Actually, you should say no. So that's one big challenge I had earlier this year, especially when I was doubling down on work intensity, right? I wasn't as present. I wasn't spending as much time with my loved ones, right? My friends, my girlfriend, right? My family, right? But one thing I know right now is not only do I set aside the time, that means scheduling, of course, helps as well. It's something I've been doing, right? But it's also about being fully present mentally when you're with them as well. Right, so you got to be present, right? So when you're actually with your friends, when you're resting, right, when you're with your loved ones, right, it's not to think about your work, not to think about other things, but to be fully present, be with them. It's more of a mental thing, but it's really about focusing on everything that's on hand right now. So even when you're resting, right, when you're chilling and watching Netflix, watching a movie, right, it's not to just think about the work you have, right? It's really about focusing and giving your 100%, not just in work, but in play, in rest, in recharging, in time with your friends, your loved ones, right? Stuff like that. So really focusing and really not mentally, right? Mentally not and just being present, right, with whatever task you are doing. So and not stressing out and not beating myself up whenever I am resting and stuff. Okay. So the next one, right? The next one, right, is really about quality versus quantity, right? Quality versus quantity, right? So instead of trying to do 1,001 things with my new business, right, my master mentors right now, right, I'm just focused on a few key things, right? A few key things that I'm going to go all out into them, right? So this even what I learned from Gabriel way back like one and a half years ago, right? Is that when you're first starting out, right, it's not to do 1,001 things, it's to focus on a few key things, right? So for me, right, my 2-day masterclass, right, I know a lot of people are going to benefit from it, absolutely, right? My 2 days masterclass, right? Number two, right, my coaching program. So these are my two paid funnels, right? I would say these are my two paid things that I'm going to focus all out on. So I'm not going to sell 1,001 things, right? I'm not going to sell e-course. I'm not going to sell ebook, right? E-mastermind, right? My focus is really getting as many people to join my 2 days masterclass, right? Which I know has a tremendous amount of value, and my elite coaching program. Right, so that's my big focus. And next, right, my other focus is just getting as many people to my movement, right, to my growth. So whether it's my Facebook group, my Telegram channel, my profile, I know, right, but everything is creating as much free content, free stuff, right, valuable information and strategic advice, right, that will bring people to either my 2-day class and then subsequently my coaching program, right? So that's my core focus. And the more I focus on this, right, I know that the better I'll do. So next in 2021, right, I'm not going to launch 1,001 things. I'm just going to focus on creating as much free content to bring people to either my first my 2-day masterclass and then my coaching program. So guys, for you, right, many of you might have a lot of things to focus on, right? But focus, right? Focus is key and critical if you really want to. Once you know what you want to do, right? Focus and go all out on it. Okay. So next one, right? This is one of my last one, I think, right? Okay. So it's like this whole concept, right? This whole decision about being flexible. Right, being flexible with what I do, right? So I love you to know, I actually signed up for this program by this wonderful copywriting legend called Kenneth Yu, right? I think cost about more than $1,000, right, at that point of time, right? And instead And so there was a 3-day live class, right, as part of the coaching, as part of the program that I invested in, right? But I did not attend it, right? And there was no guarantee of a repeat, right? There was no guarantee I could attend again, right? So guys, get this, right? I forgo a $1,000 program, right, to focus on building this thing called the Extreme Wealth Summit. Right, I focused on this thing called Extreme Wealth Summit, right, and I actually shifted my priorities. Right, shifted my priorities. So the thing is, I actually was flexible. So as much as I talk about set your priorities, focus on that and stuff, but there are times when you actually need to shift your priorities during that period of time, right? When the opportunity presents itself. So by the opportunity to launch Extreme Wealth Summit, I knew that there was a potential. I knew that I could create a lot of impact, a lot of potential income as well, right? A lot of potential business, a lot of potential partners, exposure, right? I actually shifted it, right? And I actually forgot the $1,000 program. Fortunately, right, I could attend it the second run of it, but right. But I knew that I shifted my priorities because I knew that there was opportunity came. Right. The other thing was, of course, earlier this year I wanted to focus more on the master implementers movement. Right. But what happened was the whole stock market crash. And I started for actually shifting my priorities, right, in terms of my sleep, my working time, my priorities on my work, right, all to focus on the stock market crash. Right, and that was and these two big decisions, I created a whole lot of exponential income impact and exposure for myself that I'm actually still benefiting from today. So there are times when you got to be flexible, right, when the opportunity brings itself as well. Okay, right. So my final decision that I'm going to share, right, I think I shared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so my last 10 one, right, was really about doing something even though I was afraid to, right? So a lot of you know about this program called Options Millennial Intensive Program. I think some of you have attended before, right? And I think it's just about a 3 or 4 day short notice, right? I was actually asked to actually be one of the key speakers and trainers, right, for the Options Millennial Intensive. I've never trained to that level before, right? So in just I think it was about April or May, right? I was actually pretty afraid. I was pretty nervous because I never did that before, right? And what happened is in just about 1 or 2 months before, right, I was just nervous to even be the MC for the live physical program, right? And I think 1 or 2 months later, right, I was actually asked to conduct the digital one, right? To I think about more than 500 people, right? I was really afraid. I was really nervous, right? But I always had this quote in my mind, right? So fear is not taking action when you're not scared, right? It's actually taking action even, right, when you are scared, even when you're fearful, right? Courage is actually when you're taking action despite of that. So I made a decision, all right? I went crazy. I did as much research as I could, right? I went all out, right? And right, I did pretty well for myself. And that was a record-breaking weekend, right? I think I never trained that many people before. I think it was about 500 plus people, right? For actual paid program, it wasn't free, right? And that was one of the biggest breakthroughs I had this year as well. Not just in terms of income, right? But in terms of my exposure, my training, my own personal career as well, right? So taking opportunities and really making the decision, even though you're afraid, even though you're scared, right, is one of the best decisions I made in 2020. It's something I'm forever grateful for, right? To Sean Seah for the opportunity, for Reg for inviting me, right, to join Buffalo in the first place, all right? And it's something that I'm really, really grateful for. Okay, so this was a bit lengthy, right? So guys, if you like this post, right, I'll be sharing the summary, right, one of these days as well, right? So if you liked it, right, just let me know in the comments, right? And I really hope you guys enjoyed this sharing, because something that really holds true to my heart, right? And I really hope you guys benefit and get this, right? And remember, guys, I always tell, right, it's not just about the quantity, right? Back when I talk about mastering mentors, right, focusing, it's not about the quantity of the things I do, it's about the quality, right? So I'm really focused on the quality of people I help, and how deeply I can serve people, and that's really my focus for 2020 and even 2021. And beyond, right? Really focus on quality instead of quantity. So even 10 people of you are watching this, I'm so freaking grateful, right? And I really want, yes, I want more people to watch, but if these 10 people you're watching right now, you're benefiting even one thing from it, right? I'll be so grateful for it. Okay, so my last 6 minutes, right? I'm just going to share with you a quick resource I have, right? And this thing is what I say is what Charlie Munger does himself, right? Charlie Munger, right? And is this one concept, I think some of you might have heard it before, it's called mental models, right? It's called mental models, right? And really is what I call like frames of thinking. So let me just share my screen for a while to give you guys a better look of what it is. Yeah. Okay. Hold on a while. Okay, right. So so this is check out this website fs.blog, right? So you have fund managers, venture capitalists, CEOs following this guy called Sherish. Is it Shane Sherish or something? I forgot the name. But anyway, he comes to this blog called fs.blog, right? Farnham Street, right? He's actually the actual street of Warren Buffett. He actually has this thing called mental models, right? The best ways to make intelligent decisions, right? So it's what Melvin also calls about mental frames as well, right? But really, this is a damn wonderful resource of some of the biggest, most important mental models, right? That successful people use, millionaires use, right? Investors, business owners, CEOs, Fortune 500 guys use, right? That you can really check out, right? And how they make their decisions in life, right? So it's called fs.blog, and I really recommend you guys to check it out, right? And this is, yes, I talk about about implementation, but this is actually making effective implementation, right? Making effective decisions as well. So my take is you can take half an hour, 1 hour to just read it, right? Just to have a good understanding of some of the most powerful mental models they use. And this is also the strategy that kind of caused Charlie Munger, right, himself to be so freaking powerful, right? So just take a look, right? So yeah, so you have built what I call a lattice work of different theories, concepts, and decision-making frameworks, and together that makes you for who you are, right? And that's how makes you more intelligent and much better. Because a lot of people are just making decisions without thinking, right? Without frameworks, right? Without proper concept and rationale behind it, right? But if you know how to actually enhance your decision-making through mental models, right? You actually can live a much more profitable, purposeful, and productive life. Right, so so I think they talk about Elon Musk and stuff. So I think this is actually how you benefit from all this as well. Okay, so with that, I think we have about 4 minutes left, right? So guys, if you enjoyed the sharing, just let me know in the comments, right? I would really highly you to check out this thing called mental models, right? I don't really talk so much about like mental frames and stuff, right? But I think this is really important, right? If you really want to be someone who doesn't just take action blindly, right? Or you don't want to just mindlessly take action, or you don't want just to live a life where you're not really effective, right? You can be efficient, you can be productive, but really what we are trying to do is make sure that you are effective in making the best use of our time as well. Okay, right. So guys, with that, a few minutes. If you have any questions, right, feel free to just put them in the chat. Right, I'll be more than happy to share them with you. Yeah. Okay. Right. Value, awesome sharing. Thanks, Ramesh. Thanks, Sui. Right. Thanks, Rodrigo. Right. So that's great. All right, Michael Toast says try CLM. What's CLM? Right, not so sure what's that. All right, so just gonna wait a while in case you guys have any questions that could help benefit to help answer you guys with. Okay. Okay, so about 3 minutes left. All right. Just came and watched the replay. That's great. Yeah, tonight is going to be a pretty cool session, right? So I think you'll enjoy it, Deborah. Okay. Yep. So if not questions, may I just go a bit deeper here. All right. So yeah, you can check it out, right? So some of the best articles. He's a good friend of James Clear as well, right? The author of Atomic Habits. So you can check that out. Right, and talks about so it might take a bit of time to be familiar with the language and all, but it's really, really cool when you actually start taking action. And of course, don't spend so much time on it, right? I'd rather you guys use the time to take action, but you never know, right? If you read one article a day, right, you just follow them on Facebook, right, on YouTube, right, hey, you might actually get some good concepts for yourself as well. Yep. So about 2 more minutes before I move on. So yeah, this is just what you guys can expect, right, when you guys use it. Okay, just 1 more minute. All right, like I said, right, go direct, actionable tips. All right, don't go so I wouldn't go so lengthy into stories, but yeah, right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this sharing, right? I'll be actually making a big announcement, I think later this month, right? When it comes to the future of the Facebook group, right? Master implementers, right? What am I doing, right? So you guys have a much clearer idea of where I would I would say, where I would fit into your whole entire self-education, personal journey, personal growth journey, right? So I really want to create impact to you guys. So I'll be way more strategic, way more focused, right? So we make an announcement probably sometime later this month as well. So please stay tuned, right? Stay tuned for it. It's going to be an exciting time, right? Okay, so if not, it's 7 p.m. right? I'll talk to you guys soon, right? I really hope you guys enjoyed this sharing, right? And I will see you guys soon. Bye everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this sharing, and I'll see you guys very soon.